Hey guys, Dangerous Dictionary here, and in today's video, we will be analyzing the Skullcrawler. Skullcrawlers have become popular because of their extremely violent nature. Despite these creatures' ferocious behavior, they have sadly become cannon fodder throughout the installments. The Skullcrawler is one of my favorite creatures in the Monsterverse, but Tiamat will always be my #1 favorite. Anyways, sit back and relax as we discuss Skull Island's most aggressive inhabitants. Skullcrawlers are most famous for their skull head, which is how they got their name. Many fans think that Skullcrawlers' heads just look like skulls, but aren't actually. This is false, and the Skullcrawler's head is actually its skull. Skullcrawlers also have 2 eyes on the sides of their head that can be hard to see at times. The fake eye sockets on the Skullcrawler's head are to trick opponents in battle, intimidation, and are used as heat sensors. Skullcrawlers move on 2 forelimbs that are good for leaping and chasing down prey. Older individuals, such as Ramarak and number 10, have a spike on their elbows. All Skullcrawlers have a long tongue that they use to grab prey from distances, as well as a long tail that they use as a 3rd limb. The tongue of a Skullcrawler is connected to its vital organs, which is how Kong was able to kill Ramarak. The reason Kong had to kill Ramarak the way he did is because the only way to kill Skullcrawlers is by disembowelment. Skullcrawlers can have their throat slit or have their limbs severed. If they aren't disemboweled, the Skullcrawler will keep on fighting. Their backwards-facing teeth allows them to grip on to prey as well as stop prey from crawling out their mouth. A fact many people don't know about is that Skullcrawlers actually have hidden gills as well as some webbing between their toes, allowing them to not only hunt on land, but in water as well. These are the basics of the Skullcrawler's anatomy. Now we are going to discuss the differences between the variations of Skullcrawlers. In the film Godzilla vs. Kong, we get to see Skullcrawler eggs in the hands of Apex Cybernetics. Apex most likely planned to raise the Skullcrawlers so they can be used as test subjects against Mechagodzilla. Skullcrawler eggs have a clear shell, allowing you to see the infant Skullcrawler inside. The eggs are perfect spheres and are noticeably large, standing at around 5 feet and weighing an estimated 100 pounds. The infant Skullcrawlers look identical to adult Skullcrawlers and even have the exact skull shape as an adult Skullcrawler. Juvenile Skullcrawlers hold the classic skull head, but their heads are more circular than the adult Skullcrawlers. Juveniles are usually around 25 feet tall, 36 to 57 feet in length, and around 5 to 12 tons. The skin of a juvenile Skullcrawler is extremely thin, as we see William Randa's camera flash perfectly within the Skullcrawler's stomach. The stomach acid in a juvenile Skullcrawler is noticeably weak, as we see William Randa's camera flash continuously in a juvenile Skullcrawler's stomach for a while. Because of the juvenile's more slender build, they are way more agile than their adult counterparts, being able to make full 180-degree turns in a second. Ramarak is our first look at an adult Skullcrawler. Like other adult Skullcrawlers, Ramarak had a more square-like head structure instead of a circular one seen in juvenile Skullcrawlers. There is a spike on both elbows on Ramarak and other adult Skullcrawlers. It's not known why adult Skullcrawlers have a spike on their elbow, but it's most likely a defense when in battle. With her thick tail, Ramarak was capable of throwing weights heavier than herself, as we see her throw Kong many yards with her tail alone. Ramarak and other adult Skullcrawlers usually stand around 95 feet tall, average around 200 feet in length, and weigh up to 100 tons. Despite their large size, adult Skullcrawlers are extremely fast and pretty agile, making them a hard opponent to hit. The Mega Skullcrawler, also known as number 10, had the most unique coloration out of all Skullcrawlers in the Monsterverse. The Mega Skullcrawler flexed a greenish-yellow colored head and a red stripe running down its back and tail, while keeping the classic gray skin. The Mega Skullcrawler is also the biggest Skullcrawler we've seen when it's shown in Godzilla vs. Kong. After doing many calculations, I determined that the Mega Skullcrawler stood around 270 feet tall, 420 feet in length, and can weigh up to 140 tons. Despite the Mega Skullcrawler being the largest Skullcrawler we've seen, there are cave paintings showing Skullcrawlers to be even bigger. The Skullcrawlers bigger than the Mega Skullcrawler were shown to rival the Kong species in height, meaning Skullcrawlers could reach heights of up to 300 feet. Skullcrawlers are extremely aggressive creatures that will attack anything they see. Retreat is unknown to these creatures, as every Skullcrawler we've seen has fought relentlessly until they died. Skullcrawlers have been seen to use ambush tactics, as well as coordinated pack attacks. Juvenile Skullcrawlers are more likely to hunt in packs for survival, since they can easily be killed by holy tigers, killer chameleons, and hawk. After a pack of Skullcrawlers make a kill, they become aggressive towards each other to determine who gets to eat the kill. Adult Skullcrawlers hunt independently and are obviously smarter than juveniles. We see Ramarak show high levels of intelligence when she tail smacks Earl Cole to the afterlife instead of eating him. Juveniles show intelligence when coordinating attack strategies, but they still aren't as intelligent as the adult individuals. Skullcrawlers prefer to sleep underground to avoid being killed in their sleep. When sleeping underground, Skullcrawlers still need to worry about other Skullcrawlers. This is because the species is cannibalistic and will attack an unsuspecting Skullcrawler at first opportunity if they are hungry enough. What causes Skullcrawlers to be aggressive are the fact they are hypervores. A hypervore is a creature that is in a constant state of hunger, which is why every time we see Skullcrawlers, they are always on the hunt for food. While Skullcrawlers are smart creatures, their hunger sometimes gets in the way of their intelligence, which is exactly how Ramarak died. She decided to grab Kong's arm in order to eat Mason Weaver, but that is what allowed Kong to pull out most of her internal organs. For the people wondering why we don't see infant Skullcrawlers on Skull Island, I have a theory for that. Infant Skullcrawlers most likely hatch and live underground for the first days or weeks of their life. This is so they don't get eaten by juvenile and adult Skullcrawlers, since we know the species is cannibalistic. Skullcrawlers are also easily distracted, whether the distraction is large or small. We see Ramarak get distracted by humans when she has the chance to kill Kong. This happens when she goes after the humans on the boat instead of killing Kong when he was entangled in chains. Skullcrawlers are the most violent creatures in the Monsterverse, which explains why they are the apex predators of Skull Island. I hope we keep seeing Skullcrawlers in the future and that they stop being used as cannon fodder. Comment down below if you think we will see Skullcrawlers in the Hollow Earth. Thank you for watching this dangerous video and hope to see you in the next one.